Welcome to People. I'm Shirley Lin. My guest today is Jiang Jingpo, or also known as Paul, and he is a conductor and founder of Moment Musical. I hope I'm saying it right.
That's fine.
Well, welcome, Paul.
It's my pleasure.
Yes. Now, you are a conductor.
Yes.
And a founder of a symphony orchestra, you would say? Yes. Okay. In Chinese, it's 乐兴之时, right? All right. Now, that's a very unusual name.
It is, I guess.
But it means just enjoying music in the moment. Yeah? Am I interpreting it right?
I would say it's more like moments that music really happens.
Ah, moments that music really happens.
By which I mean when the music coming from the performers are making an actual connection with the listeners, with the audience.
Of course, of course.
No.
Well, let's go way back. How did you get into music? Are you from a very musical family?
Not at all.
No.
My mother is a dentist.
Oh.
My dad was a painter. Yeah.
That's artistic.
Yeah, but neither
In a
of
different
them
way.
Is musical. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But according to my mom, I was first put on a piano bench.
Okay.
And I stayed for 1 minute.
And
then I was put on, a cello was given to me. Again, according to my mom, I stayed for 3 minutes.
Okay. How old were you then?
I was 4, I think.
Wow,
Yeah.
only 4. Okay.
4, yes.
And then?
And then finally, when I was given the violin, apparently I played on and on. So,
This is a very interesting story. Very interesting. Your mom wanted you to get musical. I think there's a dentist and there's the painter.
Yeah.
How about someone musical, right? That's so funny. Yes, so you start with the violin.
Yes.
At the age of 4?
4, yes.
Okay. How was that experience? Did you enjoy it every moment?
I don't recall any moments of disliking it, so I guess I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I learned the piano myself. And after 2 years, I absolutely hated it. And my mom would sit right beside me as I practice.
Yeah.
I'll be practicing and crying at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah. But in total, I learned the piano for 11 years. But I guess that was good. Well, we can talk about that later.
Okay.
So then you learned the piano, the violin.
Yes.
For how many years?
I don't know, because, let me see. When I was 5, I went to the States with my dad for 1 year.
Okay.
And I didn't continue learning the violin during that year. But then after that, when I was 6, when I came back to Taiwan, I started learning it again.
Okay.
And from that point on until when I finished my bachelor's degree at USC, this was continuous. So
Okay.
yeah.
So you still play the violin now?
Yes.
Oh, all right, all right. So at what point you switched to conducting and why conducting?
Okay. Actually, that's a big question. Because I always liked the violin, and even nowadays, I still consider the string quartet to be the pinnacle of music making for me. Yeah. Because actually once I was talking to the concertmaster of Berlin Philharmonic, and I simply asked him, do you think it's possible for a symphony orchestra as great as Berlin Philharmonic to reach the level of perfection and refinement of a good string quartet?
Okay.
And he said, don't think about it.
Oh, why is that?
It's a little bit difficult to explain.
Okay,
but,
I suppose.
But I guess the easiest way to explain is that for a symphony orchestra simply has too many people,
Yeah.
too many ideas, and the sonority of the orchestra is more of that of the grandiose approach. Even when it plays pianissimo, the harmonic structure or the extension of the harmonies is not going to be as clean and as perfect as when 4 string instruments are playing together very well.
Oh.
So that said, I'm trying to tell you guys that for me, string quartet is still my favorite my favorite way of making music. But conducting is something that I got interested in very early on.
Yeah.
It was in my teens, actually.
Okay.
I was about 14, 15. And just suddenly one day I felt playing the violin was not enough for me.
Oh, okay. You have bigger dreams.
Yeah. It's not... saying that doesn't mean the violin is easy or I consider it easy. It's not at all.
I agree.
Yeah, it's a Mount Everest to conquer. Yeah.
I agree. My younger brother learned the violin, so yeah.
It's just that I guess in my nature or in my character, I long for something more complex, maybe. Something more interweaving.
And maybe because you like to be in control, maybe?
No.
No?
I knew I was going to say that.
You mean conducting is not taking control?
It is.
Okay.
It is. But it's just like like management, There are many ways of controlling and managing,
That is true.
Yeah, you can be a tyrant.
Yes.
You can be super easygoing, but still have things in control.
Okay.
And I think for me, it's not so much an issue of power or control or manipulation. It was simply a musical urge, to be able to make good music on that scale, on the scale of a symphony orchestra, of that repertoire. And it was later on that I gradually discovered that I think I'm meant to do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More so than being a violinist.
I guess if I understand you correctly, I know that there are some people, let's say they're watching a choir or they're watching, a concert, and the conductor's up there conducting.
Yeah.
And you see some people in the audience or standing on the side, kind of moving along and just enjoying the moment of conducting, following the same motions as the conductor himself and all that. So those people, those people are made for conducting then.
I think those are, that's a different aspect. I think that's more like, that's more of a dancing aspect of a person. Yeah?
Yes.
There are people who when they listen to music and their body feels it right away in a very direct way, and they start to move, and their body want to do something.
Yeah.
That's why I say it's more of a dancing nature.
Yeah, because I've seen some conductors have a lot of gestures.
Yes, but there are also great conductors who doesn't move at all.
Right. Yes, that is true. Which kind are you? In the middle.
I'm just me.
Okay.
No, I think that's important because my mentor, his name is Daniel Lewis. He's probably about 90 now. No, he's 87 now. Actually, I was his last student at USC.
Okay.
And he really stressed this idea that a conductor should never plan his gestures. Everything has to come from inside, spontaneously, what you feel about this music, yeah, you do it. But you don't plan anything.
Okay.
You don't plan this gesture because it looks good or beautiful or magnificent or something.
No. Okay.
No.
Yeah. I actually asked my colleague, Huang Shihan, because she interviewed you before. And I said, is it all right for me to play a part of your music in there? Because people don't, how should I say it? Don't see your conducting or, they just hear the music. But she said, no, it's quite all right because every conductor has different interpretation of the music and just the way how you bring out the music, the same piece of music.
Of course.
And I said, wow, okay, I never thought it that way, but I see the conductors are very much into how do I put it? Let's say a total masterpiece, okay? Maybe it's Mozart or Chopin or whatever, whoever. And everybody knows that music so well off from the head or from the heart. But when you're up there conducting the same piece that everybody knows, I'm sure you feel the difference in there because it's you bringing out that music in a different way, maybe subtle ways, right?
Sometimes subtle, sometimes big.
Really? Yeah. And you don't think that would be disrespectful to the original composer?
No. Just think the other way around. If you were a conductor and you're doing the Beethoven Fifth Symphony, the 217 times,
yes,
and you do it pretty much the same every single time, indifferent from how Karajan did it, or how Karl Böhm did it, or even how Carlos Kleiber did it. What's interesting about it for yourself?
Okay.
That'll be quite a boring life. And I think for a conductor, the most interesting thing and the most rewarding thing is to communicate with the soul of this composer through the score.
Okay.
So when I read a score, particularly from a composer that I feel close to,
yes,
it's like I'm reading
a story.
Not just a story, but his inner voices, his longings, his dissatisfactions, his dreams, his whispers, his soul.
Wow. Okay.
And that's tremendously rewarding.
Now, let's say you said Beethoven Symphony 5, and you perform it 10 times. Is it different every time?
Of course. Yeah.
Really?
And I think that would be quite an important difference between a responsible conductor and not so responsible conductor.
Okay.
Because I think a responsible conductor would reread, will read again, will start again from scratch.
Okay.
The next time he does the same piece. Especially when you're facing a masterpiece. That's absolutely necessary. You have to erase everything and start from scratch.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. It's probably a little bit like when you are tasting cuisine.
Okay.
You can tell the difference whether the chef puts his heart into it.
Really?
Into the cuisine, into the dishes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can tell the difference if there's love in it, or there's not, and just routine preparation of that dish.
Right. Well, it's all very surreal, kind of.
It's not.
But I think I know what you mean, though. When the chef puts their heart into it, just like when you put heart into the music that you're performing, you're getting everybody to, perform it the way you want them to. That takes work, and it takes heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is incredible. Well, we're going to go and talk more about Momo Musiku, how you started it, and also about the music scene in Taiwan. But let's take a break now. Welcome back to People. I'm Shirley Lin. My guest today is Jangjingpo, or Paul, and he's the conductor and founder of Momo Musiku, a symphony orchestra. Well, first of all, before we go on further talking about the symphony orchestra, I'm curious to know if you ever got interested in pop music.
On and off.
On and off, okay.
Yeah, well, I shouldn't say on and off. It's more like I don't put my energy into researching it.
Okay.
But if a certain good pop song just come across into my life and I love it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And you'll set it as the ringer of your mobile phone.
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
Like whiter shade than pale. Whiter pale. What is it called? Procol.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
Sorry. Okay.
It's 60s song.
Okay. So, all right. How did you start Momo Musiku?
Yeah. Right. Let's put it this way. Most of my colleagues, by which I mean people who study conducting,
okay.
Young people who study conducting, would follow the protocol of climbing the ladder, by trying to become the music director of maybe
an existing orchestra.
Yeah, a smaller one,
okay,
a more local one, in the States, for example. And if they do well, they'll have the chance to, climb up the ladder.
Okay.
Yeah, moving up.
Right. That goes for you.
Actually, well, I had that choice, of course. I had that option.
Okay.
But I decided to come back to Taiwan and start my own orchestra.
Right.
That's the hard way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you get around to looking for all these people to form your own orchestra?
Yeah. In the beginning, the talent or the people, players, was not the problem because I have many good colleagues, good schoolmates who are good musicians.
Okay.
People around my about my age, and who also had ideals. So the first step, of course, was to find and collect these people.
Yeah.
So I had my founding members ready, and I started to look for sponsorship, and also a venue, a place to rehearse. And once all these elements were in place, we just went.
Yeah.
And the reason I decided to do it, decided to start my own orchestra instead of, climbing the ladder was because I had a very strong call of doing things the way I wanted.
Yeah, sure. I think that pretty much goes for all of us.
Yeah, and I also saw myself perhaps more not qualified or equipped, but more suitable in various senses to be able to do this in Taiwan.
Yeah.
So, that's basically how I started it. Well, the reason I started it.
Yeah. And how many years has it been now?
12.
12 years. Wow. Now, looking at Taiwan, and I think it's been, how do I put it, sort of the trend where Taiwanese parents tend to, force their children to learn some kind of mostly, and we're talking about mostly classical musical instruments, whether it's the violin or the piano. And, my family was exactly like that. I learned the pianos at the starting at the age of 6 or 7. And my younger brother played the violin. And we actually did perform and kind of like in contests and came in 3rd place. I accompanied my brother on the violin. And but it's nerve-wracking. It's always nerve-wracking.
Yes.
And I remember when I was learning piano, we would always have the recital once every year. And you never get used to it. Every year the time comes around, you're just so nervous.
Yeah.
And, as they're calling your number, the closer it gets, your heart's thumping.
Your stomach.
Oh, I hated that. But you just never get used to it. What do you understand about parents' mentality behind all this?
Well, actually, I think it's not just Taiwan, but also, in Asia, Japan is like this.
That is true.
Korea is like this.
Okay.
There's just seems to be for the parents of these cultures to have very high and comprehensive expectations of their children.
Okay.
Yeah. These parents want their children to be multi-talented.
Yeah.
Yeah. And very accomplished in many, many things. Yeah, I think that's why in the States, many Asian kids are called over-accomplishers. Huh?
Oh, I can see why.
Yeah.
I think that American parents are more, excuse me, into sports, the active type of expectation on their children, as compared to Asian parents. They want their kids to be 静态, the quiet, artistic,
the intellectual
type.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't you see
true.
that?
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
And I think in Europe it's yet different, because it seems like in Europe there are more parents who are really liberal and just try to develop whatever talent or interest their children exhibits. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's a whole totally different kind of parents.
Yeah.
How do you think the Taiwanese government has supported in the music in the music sector, the music industry, especially because you're more familiar with the classical music? How has Taiwan been promoting its classical music, arena in terms of in Taiwan, but especially abroad? How do you think Taiwan is doing, and what it can do more? I'm sure it can do more.
Classical music in Taiwan. Well, first of all, I think I should point out that Taiwanese government, since my memory, has always been paying some attention to performing arts.
Okay.
I wouldn't say promoting it, but at least I don't feel it's been neglected.
Okay.
It's in the education system. So kids at least learn about music and about, not necessarily instruments, but they have classes about music, about dancing, and the arts.
Okay.
But classical music per se in Taiwan, this might come to your surprise, but it's never the emphasis of the government. Because when you think about it, it's foreign.
Foreign?
It's foreign.
Okay.
It's not grassroots.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never seen it that way.
It may even be considered, art of the higher class, which is sensitive, actually.
That's interesting, because Taiwanese parents, or Asian parents, want so much for their own family to be westernized, maybe?
I think that comes historically from the influence of Japan.
Oh, okay.
More or less.
I see.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, what do you think Taiwan can do more in the sense, or rather, what have you seen abroad when you go perform in other countries that you thought something that Taiwan can work on, and maybe you've even managed to try to tell the appropriate agency about this, if you have been able to communicate with them?
For example, for my orchestra, we've performed overseas quite many times, and when the occasion comes, we always have to apply for subsidy from the government.
Yes.
For traveling expenses and things like that, and there are ways you can apply for it, and of course it's never enough, but at least there are ways. There are resources. I probably think a little bit differently from some of my colleagues in terms of how much the government should do, or in that sense, what they're not doing enough.
Yeah,
I think differently. I think performing arts or any arts, should surrender.
Oh, okay.
To the reality of
All right.
Market.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's no excuse. Yeah, you just have to find your ways to convince people that what you do or what you perform is worthy of their attention. Yeah, worthy of their spending.
Do you think the percentage of Taiwanese population compared to abroad, other countries, has a good size of people that enjoy, appreciate classical music?
Actually, many of my Western friends, musicians, some of them are, curators or managers of international scale. And whenever they come to Taiwan and they see the audience of Taiwan, they envy us.
Okay.
Yeah, because they see a lot of young people, young audience.
Oh.
Yeah. Because in the States or in Europe, in the concert hall, in the opera houses,
mostly older people.
It's all white or gray hairs. Huh?
I see.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's pros and cons about this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Cons for Taiwan is that even though we have this younger audience, but they are not the driving force or the status quo who already has the economic tools or forces to spend, on classical music, comparing to the situation in the West, where most of these audience or these subscribers are relatively wealthy people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
But at least we have hope because the younger generations are interested.
Right.
They're drawn to this.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that is good.
Yeah.
Well, Paul,
Yeah.
what's what's an interview without actually enjoying a piece of music that you conducted? So I've learned so much from you, Paul. Thank you so much for your interesting stories and your insights into the Taiwanese market. Good luck in whatever you're promoting and all that you're doing, and keep up that moment musical. Yes, and please tell us what's a piece that we're going to be enjoying right after this.
Let's put something more contrasting.
Okay.
To our conversation.
Okay.
Something heavy and
Yeah, sure.
Let's do Mahler Fifth Symphony.
All right.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Paul.
Okay. Thank you.
And thank you so much for watching, people.
Thank you.
I'm Shirley Lin, and please enjoy Mahler What is that again?
Fifth Symphony.
Mahler's Fifth Symphony.